So today we're going to be looking at investing offshore. We want to understand why people invest offshore, how they invest offshore, and when is a good time to invest offshore. I think it's very important to start with why. The first and most important point has to do with the fact that you want diversification. There are a lot of investment opportunities in South Africa, absolutely true. However, if you consider that South Africa makes up around 1% of global investment opportunities, you'd be nuts not to try and invest in something offshore. The second is obviously the rand currency hedge, and what you're wanting to do is essentially exchange your rands at the current exchange rate and put them into a hard currency. The rand traditionally has depreciated against hard currencies at around 2% per annum over an extended period of time. So what you're wanting to do is you're looking to get growth purely on the rand dollar or rand pound exchange rate. That's not always a very good reason to do that. You do not want money simply sitting in a bank account. You want to make sure it's invested in the markets in order to get a return. However, investing in a hard currency makes sure that you're not getting that depreciating rand on an annual basis. The last point on why people invest onshore has to do with the political and economic outlook in South Africa. Obviously, with politics and economics in South Africa being somewhat uncertain at the moment, you take that risk off the table by essentially putting your assets into a hard currency outside of the borders of South Africa. Added into that is obviously the geography. You don't want to have all your assets in one currency and in one geography. So that's essentially why. Diversification, rand currency hedge, and obviously the political and economic uncertainty. So let's move on to how to invest offshore. How people invest offshore, actually quite easy. It's a lot easier than a lot of people would have you believe. So anything under 1 million rand, you can take offshore quite easily. You can literally go to your bank and ask them to transfer funds abroad relatively easily, and that can be wired into an offshore bank account, an offshore investment platform, or anything else, as long as it's under 1 million rand. Anything above 1 million rand, and this is when I say you have to be 18 years or older in order to apply for these regulations. If you're a family and you want to use everyone's annual allowance, you have to make sure that that person is over the age of 18. And another point is that you are your allowance renews itself on the 1st of January every single year and runs through to the 31st of December. So once you've gone above 1 million rand, you're wanting to take out a bit more, say 5 million rand, you have to apply to SARS for a tax clearance. It's a very simple process. You can do it yourself. It is, if you don't know what you're doing, it is advisable to get either a forex broker or a financial advisor or even your private banker to help you take those funds offshore and apply to SARS for the tax clearance. And that's anything up to 10 million rand. So you've got your 1 million rand plus your 10 million rand. So you, as an individual over the age of 18, can take out up to 11 million rand on an annual basis. So as a couple, that would make it 22. If you wanted to take out more than 11 million rand or more than 22 as a couple, that's also possible. You need special clearance from SARS, and that can usually it takes a little longer, it takes a bit longer, and you need to have a very good reason as to why you want to take that money offshore. But it's not impossible. It just requires a little more legwork and footwork to do that. The last point on investing offshore and understanding is when to invest offshore. When do people invest offshore? What you're trying to do if you're investing offshore, you never want to invest in rand. You always want to invest in a harder currency. Either pounds or dollars are the sort of more common ones, but you can do euros or Swiss francs or anything else really. But you're wanting to make sure that the rand is as strong as possible and the currency that you're wanting to buy, either dollars or pounds, is as weak as possible. You're also wanting to make sure that the global markets are as cheap as possible, which is not always possible. When you have money, it's not always a great time to invest in markets, but you're always going to look for good investment opportunities. And so that's, understanding when to invest offshore is important. And so I think that's pretty much it for now. There are a whole host of other aspects and reasons and considerations that you do need to consider, like the tax aspect of it. But we'll cover that in another video. So this is just the basics on investing offshore. I hope you found it very, very useful. Check back in for the next video. Thanks very much. Bye.